Okay, good morning. It is day 4 of the Palouse to Cascades trail section hike. All packed up, headed out. I kind of looked at the map. I'm not going to go all the way back. You can go all the way back in on the trail I came in on and circle the lake, or you can go out through the town of Easton and connect to back to the trail. So that is the way I'm going to go. So a little more road walking. Woke up this morning with the foot hurting pretty darn bad, but walked around a little bit, got everything set up in camp, got the triple socks going on, and I'm going to still keep the trekking pole out today, and just see how it goes. It feels a little bit better now. Ate something this morning, took some Advil. So what time is it? It's about 8:50, and I'm headed out of the state park. Destination today, South Clay Elm Trailhead, 15.1 from here. I think I'm about 2 point something for the day, so it'll be about 15 plus today. All right, just 2,094 miles left till Chicago. Anyway, stopped a minute ago, applied sunscreen just in case, because I had a lot of these exposed sections. First people I've seen all day today, well, biking. A couple walking their dog out earlier. Just saying, anyway, stopped and put sunscreen on and checked the map. I'm down to 10 miles into Clay Elm, or South Clay Elm. I still, to get up into town, be another mile and a half or so, where all the restaurants and hotels and all that stuff is. Probably gonna text Megan soon and tell her the options and see how she feels about either way. I feel like I've looked all around Clay Elm. I don't see any place that's a designated camp spot, and I hate trying to find a stealth spot to camp that close to town, because you just don't know what private property is or what people are looking out for. And I've seen first 2 signs of the whole trail that said Palouse to Cascades Trail, no camping. So pretty much, unless it's a designated campsite, they don't want you just camping there, and I don't see anything around Clay Elm. There is a horse camp on the other side of town, but coming in the way I'd come in, it'd be like a 4.5 mile trek from the trail up to it, and then 4.5 mile back. So you're talking about almost a little bit under, but you're talking about almost 9 miles just to get to it, and it's a horse camp. And some of the horse camps that I've come across before on the PCT have a ton of extra sites, and they let hikers stay there, but I don't know about this one. I wouldn't want to go 4 miles off and then 4 miles back just to find out they don't allow that. Plus, if I stick to plan and I stay in Clay Elm today, tomorrow is 18 miles to Thorpe at the fruit stand, where Megan and the boys are supposed to pick me up around 4. So if I stay to that horse camp, and even if it worked out, I'm adding 4.5 miles or 4 miles or so on the 18, making it 22, which is already 18 was going to be pushing it to get there by 4 o'clock. Not that they couldn't change it to later, but trying to pick them up and get us home before the boys' bedtime, not keep them out too late. Anyway, that'd be pushing it to add that on. So I think I'll bounce it off her and see if she's okay with me. I think it's like $65-$75 for the hotel in town. It's got mixed reviews, but what do you expect for a $65-$75 hotel in a small town? It would have a shower, it would have a bed. So I don't know how fantastic either of them would be, but right now I'm pretty ripe. The bed sounds nice. So if she wants me to do that, then she could pick me up as planned. I could do 18, start out early tomorrow, do 18 into Thorpe, be there around or by or before 4 o'clock. Shouldn't be a problem. Everything stays on schedule. Or as I get closer to Clay Elm, try to time it. It's about an hour and a half drive for them to get there. Try to time it for them to come and pick me up about the time I'm coming into town. It would leave me, I think, about 55 miles for the whole hike, which isn't bad considering how rough the terrain has been on my foot. Or if I did the whole thing, the plan would be about 70. So either one in 5 days, it's respectable. I'm good with it. I saw a lot of the stuff that I wanted to see. So anyway, that's the long blah 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 plan. I gotta find a condensed version of that to send to Megan and see what she thinks. Depends on how the boys are doing today and what they feel up to. But either way, I'm probably good with it. There's bonuses. I'll be off trail, get a rest up an extra day than expected. Tomorrow, if they pick me up today, or I get the hotel tonight and get a rest up and at least get clean. So we shall see. So more long and straight. Feels like we've barely turned since leaving Easton. Just straight road, homes on off to the right, and then I don't know if you can hear, but you can't see it, but the freeway off to the left the whole time. We haven't really left until we get close to Clay Elm. It kind of pulls away from the freeway for a little bit, and we come into South Clay Elm. Besides that, we follow the freeway pretty much the whole way. A lot of the reviews at Easton State Park and the campground complain so much about the freeway noise. And you are close to the freeway, but it's not, it really wasn't that bad at all, I didn't think. But I was back in the quote-unquote hiker and biker section, back in site number 136 and 137, which I find that weird for being right on the Palouse to Cascades trail. Yes, obviously, I've come to learn there's not a lot of hikers, but there's a lot of people on bikes, and they only have 2 designated sites for hikers and bikers. Now, this time of year, I don't know if I filmed any in there, it's like dead. There's like maybe 2 people besides me were camped, and they've got like, I don't know, 90 some spots or so. So they got a ton of room, and I'm sure if I would have got in before 3, I could have got one pretty much my pick of the area. But I got in at 3:15, and they closed their station right out front at 3. So had to go with the, I guess I didn't have to, but went with the hiker and biker thing just in case. There's no one in them anyway, but of course it's the furthest away from when you walk in, which is always funny to me because everyone else has a car, so they could easily drive as far as you need. The hiker and biker one should be centrally located, or at least the hiker, because they have to walk all over the place. I remember walking into Shelter Cove at on the PCT when I did the Oregon section, and it was so nice to have the convenience store and the charge station and tent they had set up, and the laundry and the showers all within a relatively close walking distance. So I've been to a lot of those places where you're meandering all over the resort to get those things after just walking 20 miles into it. The last thing you want to do is be walking around, or even the day after you rest up and you have the hiker body and everything's all tight and stiff. The last thing you want to be doing is wandering all around to get stuff done, or doing a ton of steps on your off days. So, okay, that's enough of that. Onward down the trail. Is 11:46, 5.3 miles to go. And shade. Oh, glorious shade. Last 3 miles at least have been all exposed. It is hot. Okay. Finally found some shade. That was the 4-day trail hair. Oh, that's nice. A little pinkish. Honest, I put sunscreen on, so. Oh, what was I gonna say? Oh, so I got a hold of Megan, texted her the different options. She is down to pick me up today. We just both figured it didn't make much sense for me to pay $75 or so to stay in a hotel that's like an hour plus from where we live. And she could just come pick me up. And there's really nothing on the trail in those last 18 miles. My foot is better today. I think I was telling her I think I could, the day rest, or rest and the rest of today, push the 18 miles. So there would be no issue to make it. But there's not necessarily anything else different than what I'm seeing today that I would see tomorrow. So they are going to meet me at the Dairy Queen, all right, in Clay Elum. I just saw the sign back. We're about 6 miles out still, and then some town walking. So I'd say about 7 miles total, maybe a little bit more, all the way to the Dairy Queen. I'm just trying to time things up with them, make sure that they leave no earlier, so I don't want them sitting around waiting for me with 2 kids and the dog. But anytime after a certain time, then I'll be there, and I don't mind if I have to wait around for them for a while. I'll just sit in the air conditioning sipping on a milkshake, so no rush for them. So day 4 will be the last day of Palouse to Cascade Trail. For this section of it, definitely something I'd like to come back and do with a bike. Not something I would want to hike. I kind of see why people don't. There were some small sections around Lake Easton that were actual trail that I didn't have to walk on the road, and did that, and it felt much better. I mean, I still had, what I assume this is is plantar fasciitis. It's right in the arch of the foot and travels up the back of the heel, which is the same thing I had when I started doing the through hike of the PCT. Now I think in my head, I'm gonna go back and watch the videos. Maybe you should go back and watch the videos. But I'm gonna go back and see if it was my left foot or my right foot. I feel like it was my left on the PCT, but I don't know for sure. So maybe it's the same one, or maybe it's both, which means it could happen in either one. I don't have the green foot insoles, which are supposedly the really good ones, in these shoes, but I had them on the PCT. So I don't know if it's insoles, I don't know if it's shoes, because I had Lone Peaks on the PCT too, Ultras, and these are my Ultra Superiors. So it's hard to blame it completely on them. I was pushing miles early on the PCT, so maybe it was that. I'd push miles a little bit on the first day here to get to camp on this trail, so maybe it was that. So it's definitely something, if I'm doing anything more. I mean, I did a 2-day with my dad, 2 sisters, and had nothing, didn't feel anything at all. So if I do anything more than 2 days, something I'm gonna have to look into. I have a support sock that goes right in the arch, or maybe a more specific, and go to a doctor or go to a shoe store where they get a specific made for me insoles for plantar fasciitis, which I know they sell, and test that out before do another long one, and definitely find out more about the terrain. I mean, I guessed it was like this. I want to say just completely out of left field it was going to be like this. I knew it was a bike path, but I didn't literally think the whole thing would be graveled. I mean, that's a lot to gravel, and they've definitely done it. Because I've been on, we went on a hike before we're making videos. I wish we'd made a video of it. It was an awesome hike, Salmonberry, in Oregon, near Portland, I believe, if I remember right. And it's an old railroad track, but it actually has, third snake of the day. It actually has like the track most of the time still there. And I don't know age-wise if it's older. And it was a much scarier because here when you cross the railroad bridges, they've obviously been enforced, and some of them are holding concrete and huge amounts of gravel, so they can hold the weight. On the Salmonberry hike, you walked over the trestles and there'd be big gaps and holes. I mean, there'd be steel grates in places, but it was a lot more freaky walking over those. This is obviously much more used. But my point being, when I walked on that trail, there was an actual trail, and it was dirt, it wasn't a bike path. So I assumed, having been a railroad before, that yes, the high trafficked areas, like we did the Snoqualmie Pass tunnel video, which you can check out. And then obviously in this, 2 days ago, did the same thing, and it's graveled and concrete and stuff like that inside, but that's a very populated section of it. And at North Bend, where you're getting on, and I figured around Lake Easton, but I figured the rest of it wasn't going to be so well maintained. It'd be like dirt, at least some of it. And so far, outside those little bits of the state park, it's just gravel the whole way. I mean, it's a gravel road, like I said. They use it for road access, for these AT&T fiber optics that's buried in all the electrical poles. So kind of should have figured, but yeah, if I come back and do it, I don't know how it's going to work time-wise, but I'd love to. I got to get better bikes, and but me and my wife would love to get back into biking more. We biked a lot before the kids, and then just couldn't make it work. But we want to get back into that, and as the kids get older, get them into doing it. But I'd love to bike pack a section, because you could do what I just did in 4 days, in 2 days easy, and you can plan out your route a little bit better, so you had a place to stay, because you can go further, or when you're walking, you can't go as far in each day, especially on this kind of terrain. So yeah, it was a cool experience. I love walking through the tunnel again. I love walking through all those railroad trellises and whatnot. It was an avalanche shelter, or avalanche over I don't know remember what it was called, but basically for the train to go over and be protected against the avalanche was super cool. Seeing all the people biking, staying in Lake Easton, we've been to. There's a video for that. Yeah, anyway, it's been a fun little adventure. In some ways, it would have been nice to go further, but now knowing what this terrain is, I'm glad I cut it off as I did. I definitely would love to come back with bikes, start at North Bend, plan it out, and maybe by that point, the section from Vantage, well, one, the bridge, I wish I could remember the name. The bridge there at Vantage will be finished, so you can cross there, a brand new bridge, which would be awesome, or a restored bridge, which would be awesome. Oh, it's like a golf course out there. How fancy these houses are. Anyway, that would be restored by then, and maybe the east side of the trail would be a little more. I mean, you have to pick the right times of the year, because out in this, but when you're on a bike, you can get further. Like you said, the whole trail takes a lot less time. So doing it all the way to Idaho might be a doable thing. So anyway, that's about all of my ramblings. That's the plan. If I don't speak to the camera again, that's been the hike. I hope you guys have enjoyed tagging along. Hate to always have an excuse, but I feel like I always have a lot of things planned that I want to film and do, and then you get out on a hike and the reality, it's very easy to sit at home editing the videos or making the videos and be like, this is what I need to do more of. When you're out here, you're putting in the miles, or you have, in other situations, have the kids, have the dog, you're trying to navigate all that stuff, always getting everything footage-wise that you want. It's a lot easier to dream up than it is reality. But I feel over time, I'm improving with that. So as long as I can get little bits of things that I want to do in videos, and then just kind of get better as we go along, and hopefully everyone that's tuning in is enjoying. So thanks for coming with me. So I keep joking about those mile markers to Chicago, because this is the old Milwaukee Railroad. Last one was like 2067 or something like that. Literally just filmed it, can't remember the number. You wonder why I have a hard time remembering names of rivers and places and whatever, gone in like 5 seconds. But anyway, I joke about how far that is, but the whole PCT is like 2,650 miles. So even when I started North Bend, if you add on that to it, it's still, 2,100 or whatever. So from North Bend, which is like, I don't know what it is exactly, but like 30 miles from Seattle, let's say, so very close to the far west side of Seattle, of Washington, all the way to Chicago is shorter than the whole PCT, Mexico to Canada. I don't know why that's so shocking to me. Just feels like Chicago's a longer distance, but I guess not. Just get used to Mexico to Canada and think, yeah, that's that distance, and that's not, it's crazy long, but it's not across the country the other way crazy long, but pretty close. So that's just something that popped into the head, but that is nice. Check out this. It's another beautiful property, but pretty cool mountain behind it. Okay. So I just got the text from Megan a little bit ago that she got gas and is heading out with the boys. So puts her a little over an hour out. And I'm sitting at, about 30 minutes into South Clay Elm, and then probably another 30 minutes or so to the Dairy Queen. So we should be pretty close to there at the same time. Took a break a little while back, wetted the head and the hat, and rested the feet for a little bit, but should be pedal to the metal from here on out. That is a beautiful finishing line.